Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from Level Study 1170 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and says, Am I the arsehole here for publicly calling out a friend for sending my fiance inappropriate messages? This is going to be a long one and throwaway for the obvious reason. I know the title makes it seem absolutely obvious, but let me explain. My fiance, Josh, has a close friend group of guys from college we see rather regularly, at least the ones that stayed in our city, including his best friend, Matt. His best friend's wife, Addison, has a friend, Leela, that was integrated into their group before I met my now fiance. So apparently Leela had a crush on my fiance before I met him, and even tried to get Matt's now wife to set them up. Josh made it clear he wasn't interested. Unfortunately, it seems she never gave up hope that he would come around. Fast forward to Josh and I meeting, and we really hit it off, so he wanted to introduce me to his friends. We met up with everyone for drinks one night, and apparently Leela wasn't given a heads up Josh was in a relationship by Addison, because the look on the girl's face when he introduced me was somewhere between pure disgust and shock. Everyone else was friendly and welcoming, but she was icy, and Addison was a little quiet at first, but then warmed up. I get it, she was probably trying to be loyal to her BFF that had a crush. Fast forward about a year, Matt and Addison are getting married, with Josh being the best man, and of course Leela maid of honor. I didn't feel any sort of way because I'm secure in my relationship. He's not interested in her and just had to walk down the aisle with her. Matt and Addison even set it up so he could sit with me at the reception, much to Leela's displeasure. Well, at the reception, as she kept coming over and trying to flirt with Josh, saying to not forget that the best man is required to dance with the maid of honor, which he flatly just told her that's not a thing. Well, about 2 weeks ago, we got engaged. Yay! There is a group chat I was added into once I had established my own friendships and wasn't just Josh's girlfriend, where people organized pub nights, beach trips, etc. Josh announced our engagement in it a day later, and everyone other than, you guessed it, Leela congratulated us. Huge shock, right? Well, now to the issue. We are here for Friday night around 1 to 2 a.m. ish, and apparently Leela decided to message Josh privately. The first was something like, I was just thinking about you, followed up with a semi-nude photo. Then, you're not married yet, and a bunch of other inappropriate stuff. He didn't see it until he woke up yesterday morning. We were just chilling in bed, checking emails, etc., and he just says, what the fuck, then hands me the phone. Obviously, I was wicked pissed off as he was, so he just shot back a message telling her that it was highly inappropriate and disrespectful, and not to contact him again. She then attempts to backpedal with excuses, she was drunk, and then, oops, I sent it to the wrong person, don't tell OP. The last part pushed me over the edge, and I asked him to screenshot it to me. I told him I wouldn't include the photo. Revenge porn is never okay, but I was going to post it in the group chat because this is the last straw, as long as he was fine with me doing so. So I did, and I said that we were done with this disrespect and would no longer be engaging with someone who would do something like this. Not the most mature on my part, but I think everyone needed to know. And wow, did the chat light up. Leela pretty much immediately left the chat, but everyone else was so shocked she would do that. Leela went crying to Addison because she said I bullied her, who feels somewhat torn because she wishes that it was handled privately, but she has only escalated any attempts to shut her down. So Reddit, am I the arsehole here? For putting her on blast by posting her texts to my fiance in the group chat to hold her accountable. Everyone else is disgusted with her, but my fiance's best friend's wife feels it should have been handled privately. Now, it's an absolute not the arsehole to me in this situation. This is a simple case of consequences have actions, and she deserved to be called out. Your friend telling you that it should have been kept private is to just defend her, basically. It felt like because you're getting married, this is a last-ditch attempt to try and get him away from you. And I don't understand the logic that's going through that person's head. She's been told no multiple times by your fiance, And then she tries this. It doesn't feel like it was a drunken thing to me. It felt like it was a last ditch attempt to try and get him off you. That's not a friend, not someone that you need at your wedding or in your friend group whatsoever. I'd block this person, move on. Don't worry yourself about the consequences of her actions. But the top comment on this one made me chuckle. I've said this one before. Specialist ad says, Leela discovered that the dildo of consequences rarely arrives lubed. Fucketh around, findeth out. Chocolate Jacuzzi says, not the arsehole. Fuck that. I would have done the same shit. OP responds to that saying, the way I feel is she wasn't accepting his no over and over. I guess thinking he would change his mind or break down. I've always let him handle it because he's a grown man and always shuts it down. But I figured exposing her for what she's been up to would definitely put an end to it. Final consequences, not the arsehole, and good on you. Except you didn't really call out a friend, because Leela has never been your friend. And if anyone tries to defend her actions or thinks you were wrong for publicly calling her out, they're not your friends either, and feel free to cut them off. Oh, and Josh sounds like a stand-up guy. Congrats on the engagement. Don't invite Leela, or do, just to rub it in her face. OP says, thanks, I'm super excited. Oh hell no, she would never get an invite. And I only used friend because I didn't know what else to say, as I kind of rage typed this. I don't know if this was her last ditch effort to get him, that's what I thought. One of the other women, who is a long-term partner to one of Josh's closest friends, texted me privately with some choice names for her and said, your girl, burn that shit down. Leela has tried to hook up with her boyfriend of 9 years when she was on a long-term trip, so we feel similar about her. On the back of that, someone did say, do the others know about this? And Opie says, yep, I posted a nasty text to the group chat and apparently we aren't the only ones who are over her shit. I think this was finally enough where she really showed her ass that she's being iced out. People have been great despite the newest person in the circle, and some of the gifts people are adding are hilarious. A horse named Phil. I'm not sure why that name makes me chuckle. Not the arsehole. I don't understand what people are thinking in these sort of scenarios. Let's say your bid to be the other woman or man succeeds. Is that person who was really so ready to drop their significant other the minute someone else shows an interest a catch? Never mind the selfish aspect, it's self-destructive. They're setting themselves up for similar drama. You lose them how you found them. Hope you respond saying, right? Honestly, any person that would break my trust is not someone I want to be with. I think some get off on the chase or being able to steal a man. I think she is just a horrible person that can't fathom a guy who would turn her down. And a final comment from typical agency says, not the arsehole, Addison's silence is alarming. Had she put a friend in her place, it would not have gotten to this extreme. Opie says, I'm annoyed by that too. I guess her loyalty is to her best friend. Her husband is disgusted by Leela. I guess it is a shitty position to be in, but I wouldn't tolerate any of my friends pulling that kind of crap. But then again, none of my friends would. My best told me he could have a talk with her, lol. No one can read someone like a fabulous gay man. So, OP does update their post and says, so I promise an update to my original post. I was surprised at the amount of responses I received. Thank you to everyone for your words of support and also for making me like I wasn't a total psycho for sharing the messages with everyone. I read through some of the comments and got a good laugh at some. One person had the balls to tell me I should treat her in kindness and show grace. I will give you credit for being willing to do it on the post, not sending a private message, because I got some pretty rude private messages. But yeah, I don't owe her any sort of kindness. On to the fallout. Josh and I are obviously fine, and that was never going to be an issue. He's amazing, we communicate well and don't have secrets. Matt came over to talk to Josh and apologise, though he had nothing to apologise for. He had a long talk with Addison about how he felt it was way out of line to tell me it should have been handled privately. He said he told his wife that Leela is an issue in their relationship as well because she always invites herself along when they are doing things or going out as a couple. She constantly complains and then always gets too drunk, so she has to spend the night. I guess he has said something in the past, but she always lets Leela steamroll her. He put his foot down and said she needs to set boundaries with her and they need to take time apart. She agreed but expressed her fear of Leela's reaction. Well, apparently that conversation went about as bad as you'd think. She decided to do it over a phone call and Leela lost her mind. She accused me of gaslighting. I'm pretty sure she doesn't actually know what that means. Then she tried to explain what happened again, which went from it was sent to the wrong person, it wasn't even a big deal, Josh has always led her on so she thought he wanted it. What? She was so wasted she doesn't really remember sending it, and finally blaming Addison for not trying hard enough to hook them up. When she finally told Leela that they need time apart so she can focus on her marriage and work, she absolutely lost it. She told her that she can't end a long-term friendship over the phone, so she was going to come over because she owes it to her to say it to her face. She told her no, and Josh told Addison to let Leela know that she wouldn't be let in and the cops would be called. She hung up and they both blocked her number. The girl is really wicked insane. I had a talk with Addison and she apologized for trying to smooth things over because she didn't want to deal with the wrath of Leela, as she has seen her go off on other people in the past. I forgive her, but I'm going to move slowly with that relationship to see what her actions show. I do feel bad because that was obviously a toxic friendship, which seems like a trauma bond, but I'm not a psychiatrist. I just never want to get in the way of Josh's friendships, and I know Matt is very important to him. So she's gone, at least for now. But regardless whether her and Addison eventually reconnect, we're having nothing to do with her ever again. This all actually tightened my friendship with Sarah, who has been a long-term partner of another one of their friends, as she has been a major supporter. We always got along really well. She's come out for girls' nights with my other friends and I too. She's ready to go to war for me. Lol. So that's the silver lining out of all this. I hate drama. Honestly, it worries me that this person is shaping young minds for a living because she is obviously not mentally or emotionally well. I love my partner more than I ever knew was possible, but somehow this just made us even more solid. I'm pretty sure we haven't heard the last from her, but she has no power over my life, so that's that. I guess the moral of this all is don't be a pushy hoe bag and send unwanted photos and texts. No means no, kids. Hope he added some information on the type of person Leela is, and says totally true. I know she lies about her age to guys because she thinks being single at 30 is like the most horrific thing. I honestly didn't plan on getting married. It wasn't a big thing for me, but now I can't imagine not marrying my partner. She has to be a deeply unhappy person, despite putting on a show about how glamorous and amazing her life is. I'm curious if she ever tried to hit on Matt because I wouldn't put it past her. Information on Leela's and Addison's friendship. She really doesn't engage much with other women except to brag. Addison is the only one of us other women she really spent time with. But I think it's because no one else tolerates that stuff. I think this is being used as an excuse to finally not have to tolerate her. I honestly don't know if she has any other friends outside of Addison. The funny thing is, Addison was the only one she had an individual relationship with, so she pretty much cut herself off from everyone. She doesn't seem to have any interest in building female friendships because she's more of a guy's girl, and girls are always jealous of her. Eye roll emoji. I don't know the details, but apparently she was there for Addison during a super messy divorce, and her mum went through a bad depression. I guess according to Matt, whenever Addison tries to establish any sort of healthy boundaries, she throws that in her face and Addison backs down. Hopefully this time it will stick. I'm just happy I never have to fake cordial with her again. I feel kind of bad now knowing that she was kind of being emotionally blackmailed and guilted over having Leela help her during a hard time. When someone helps you with the plan to use it to hold it over you, it totally changes things. Feeling you owe someone loyalty to the point you put up with their crappy behaviour can't be good for your mental health. That's the thing, it's not like I posted on social media or went scorched earth and sent it to the school she works at. And lastly, on her and Josh, and says, thank you. Women can be our own worst enemies. My man wants to jump me when I'm yucky after hot yoga. I love that we intellectually spar and teach each other. Opening your partner's mind is great, and I'm still excited for him. This dude got me Taylor Swift tickets that were so good and probably paid way too much. He pretended it was just for me and sang along too. Lol. OP's final comments there where they was talking about, Addison being sort of like emotionally blackmailed and guilted over when Leela helped her during a hard time and feels like she owes her, had me thinking because if I'm totally honest, usually I think I'm pretty empathetic towards people. Some people say too empathetic. But if I'm being completely honest, I didn't have much empathy for Addison towards the end of this post, but OP's comments did bring it back for me. And I know many people in the comments, and these comments as well, I can read them right now, and people that I know in real life wouldn't forgive Addison for what they did in this situation. You know, you don't have to forgive that behavior, but you can maybe try to understand it. You don't even have to do that either, but I think OP is right that, you know, your mental health probably is all over the place with a toxic relationship. Obviously, again, we don't know the full ins and outs of the situation, and I wouldn't blame OP either way what they chose if they didn't want Addison in their life, if they did get involved with him again at a slower pace, because toxic friendships can mess you up just like any other relationship, and you can make poor decisions because of it. Again, not excusing the behavior, you don't have to forgive it. But anyway, now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And I've had some comments asking for a petty revenge story, which I get requests for every once in a while, and you know, I'm happy to bring it in. This one's from Prize Break from the Petty Revenge subreddit, and says, dressed overly casual at a designer store so that the rude sales rep wouldn't get commission. I don't typically buy a lot of designer clothing, but when I do go shopping, I dress pretty casually. Last week I was strolling through the mall and there was a designer backpack on display that caught my attention. I went inside the store wearing a hoodie and ripped jeans and went to inquire about the price of the backpack. I waited around for 10 minutes for someone to help me until I decided to go up to one of the sales representatives myself. She told me to wait because she was helping another customer, so I sat down and waited. I saw her in the corner of the store just standing, not doing anything. I decided to wait another 5 minutes for her to come back, but she never did. I walked back up to her and told her I wanted to inquire about the backpack. I asked her if she could bring one from the back room so I could take a closer look at it. She told me that she wouldn't be able to do that unless I was planning on purchasing the item. She seemed annoyed with my request. Before I could say anything else, she quickly walked away to help another customer. I'm quite young, 25 female. I could tell she didn't think I was serious about purchasing it and didn't want to waste her time. I would have actually purchased it then and there if she hadn't been so dismissive. A few days later, I went back into the store. This time I made sure to dress an even more casual than before. I walked in a pair of sweatpants, running shoes, a tank top and zip up. The same lady was working that day and turned her back to me as soon as I walked in. Went up to one of the other sales representatives. This guy was younger, smiling and seemed eager to help. And I told him I wanted to purchase the backpack, and he gladly went inside and got it for me. He even asked if I'd like to take a look at it before buying. I thanked him and he checked me out. The store manager was also by the cashier, and I let him know that I came in last week and that the lady wouldn't let me see the product before purchasing it. He was upset to hear this and told me this wasn't the first time he had received a complaint about her. The item was a few grand and all the commission went towards the junior. He was so kind and grateful. She avoided eye contact with me after she got told off by her manager, and I smiled at her as I walked out the store. Don't judge a book by its cover. And the amount of people sharing their own stories, very, very similar stories to the OP, is absolutely incredible. If you was that manager, you'd be well pissed off having a member of staff treat others like that. So I certainly would anyway. Looking down on people for dressing a certain way is just this out there, man. Similar sort of thing happened with my dad actually. Him and my brothers really like their watches, as many other people do of course. And my dad in his working years, he worked a very manual job, so his work clothes were pretty scruffy, pretty dirty if you like. And he went into this shop after work one day to purchase this particular watch he had his eye on. And he said that the woman said to him, "Do you have the funds to purchase this?" And apparently she said it in a real snooty way. He then said that another woman stepped over and told her to go and get the watch while she took over and spoke to my dad. My dad's the most chill guy you'd ever meet. I never saw him angry once in my life. But he said he was a bit like, what the hell was that all about? Still bought the watch anyway. I mean, there was no karma involved in that one, but picturing his cheeky face, he's very, very chill. Anyway, what do you guys make of this situation? Have you ever faced similar? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. Pretty Woman just popped into my head as well. Oh, yes. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.